Ladies and gentlemen, get the book Dr. Joshua Bowen wrote, The Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament. It is extremely full of knowledge and information for anyone, as well as join the Patreon. There's hundreds of videos that have not released to the internet. You can ask questions and I will record them with these scholars in high definition. I do that all the time. You can also personal message me and you help the community grow. Thanks a lot. Dr. Joshua Bowen, one of my patrons, who's been around for a while. He likes to super chat more complex questions than everyone else to flex his brain muscles on people, I feel. I'm just kidding. Ben Lamoureux.
Big Ben.
Yes. He is, he's definitely a sharp guy. You can tell he does his studying. And I love it when he brings something to the table because it's always going to be like, all right, flex a little. You're going to have to pull deep on this. So it's multiple questions in one. I'm just going to lay them all out. These could technically be a video of their own each.
I'm not nervous at all. I'm not nervous.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Wipe the
scared.
sweat. Wipe the sweat. Do you think the biblical Shinar is Sumer? Would the biblical writers know anything about Sumer other than emperors taking the title King of Sumer and Akkad?
Okay.
Let's start with that. All right. Well, I'll keep going. He said, what's going on in Genesis 14 with the big battle with all the kings?
Okay.
Any thoughts on the name connections between Esther, Ishtar, and Mordecai, Marduk? Jewish heroes named after Babylonian deities? And then why is it always when is Daniel dated and never who has Daniel dated? Give us the Daniel rom-com we crave.
Okay. Some of those I can answer, I think, to greater or lesser degrees. So the first one is Shinar.
Shinar is Sumer.
Okay. Complicated question. So yes, I think it's clear from the text that the area that's being spoken about is Babylonia. So when it talks about Shinar or Shinar, it's talking about Babylonia. So, and you can see that I think in, it's been a while since I've looked into this in particular, but I think in the translations you can see it. I think they make it clear that it's Babylonia. It's like the Septuagint. But the other question is etymological in nature. So what is Shinar or Shinar or whatever supposed to be Sumer, the word? So I'm pulling a little bit from memory here. So forgive me, and I haven't looked into this in detail. I don't think that it's trying to do the word Sumer, because that would be pretty ancient. Although I haven't really thought through the way that liturgies would play in, but nonetheless, I don't think it's pulling from Sumer, and I don't think scholars think it's pulling from Sumer. There's a Kassite word. So the Kassites were like Middle Babylonian, so middle the second millennium BCE, and Sangaru maybe, Sangara, I can't remember, but I think that's what they connect it back to. So the etymology is a little trickier, and I don't know that we know that with any type of certainty or relative certainty, but I don't think that scholars think it's pulling from Sumer. They think it's pulling from a Middle Babylonian Kassite word. So that was question one.
That was question one, yeah.
Question two was something else that I don't remember.
It's what's going on in Genesis 14 with the big battle with all the kings. Do I need to open the Bible on that?
No, so Genesis 14, this is talking about where, if you remember the story, Lot is living down in Sodom, and you've got these kings start fighting, and Lot and several other people are taken captive by these kings, and so Abraham, gathers 300 of his servants, and they go out after him and take them back. And this leads into the whole Melchizedek story, and Abraham telling the king of Sodom that he's not going to take anything from him, so that only God will have made him wealthy, those sorts of things. So what's going on? I haven't looked specifically into the background to those. There's like Amraphel. I can't remember the others. One is probably like an Elamite thing. Can't remember the name. Keller. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter. So the short answer is it's probably pulling from maybe an amalgamation of older memories, traditions about the area, mixing, conflating it with more something that's a little more current. Amraphel, people have said, is this Hammurabi? I don't know. I feel a little hesitant to comment on it because I haven't looked into it recently. But yes, that's sort of what's going on. It seems like they're kings, names that could be kings from over in the east. But the way that it's laid out, I think the Elamite king is the one that's in charge, which is interesting. But again, I haven't looked at it.
You need to do a deep dive.
I would have to.
You wouldn't like to remark on it and be certain about anything till you know.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. Any thoughts on the name connections between Esther and Ishtar and Mordecai and Marduk?
None.
What about Jewish heroes named after Babylonian deities? Are there any that you can think of?
So very specific questions.
You've never actually checked that particular idea of Mordecai and Marduk?
I mean, like, no. And I guess I just have to see them both, see how they're spelled, and then see. Yeah, I haven't even thought about it.
Huh.
I don't know if he's referring to like something like, what was the question? After Babylonian deities. Deities, he said deities.
Jewish heroes named after? Like, what was the guy who fought and this might not be Babylonian, but like the 300, what was his name? He fought, 300 of them fought against, it's a biblical hero that fought. It was 300 soldiers, and there was like thousands of their enemies, and they fought and won.
Oh, you're talking about oh my God, the fleece.
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. It's your tea, man. Your tea sucks the brain memory out. I'm telling you.
Gideon.
Yeah. Like, is that a purely Jewish name? I mean, I wonder if there's some etymological roots to some of these names that are kind of borrowing from other deities. Because, I mean, like, we see, for example, Esau and Jacob. Jacob's a fair-skinned man. He's got a smooth skin. He takes care of the inside animals. He's an inside boy, if you could use the term. And Esau's this hairy, rough, tough, outward guy. His hair is red. Well, a lot of people I've talked to will say that looks very much like the sun. Esau kind of looks like an image of the sun. This red-haired wild man. And Jacob represents the moon. Smooth-skinned, that he somehow represents the moon in this. And there's some underlying hint here. We see like overlap between potential Babylonian stories when you have like Nimrod and the Babylonian stuff, but that's early. I don't know where Mordecai and Marduk would pop in. I'm just throwing it out there to see if there's anything ticking in the brain after all the tea that you drank.
I mean, I guess this is definitely something that I'd have to see them. Like, I'd have to look at the original cuneiform. I'd have to go back and look at which letters they used to spell Mordecai. But even like that would just be to start.
Or at least look into other experts who've done maybe etymological connections and try to see if there's something there.
Yeah, because I mean, you could look from like a literary standpoint and see if there are overt characteristics that you see of Mordecai that seem to line up with Marduk. I can't think of anything.
Right. All right, last one was the whole why is it always when is Daniel dated and never who has Daniel dated? Give us the Daniel rom-com.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Daniel's probably a player. You know, I feel like, you know, as Charles Boyle would say, he's just mowing chicks down.
Yeah. Well, I guess sometimes when you just don't have confidence in knowing for sure on something, you can't.
You just say silly stuff. Yeah. Like
well, no, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say you don't want to say something and just because, and that's a good practice. Oh, let me say something to fill in the gaps here because I guess I'm going to guess with you. I just figured I'd throw it out there because I have heard some scholars who try to say that these people, like Samson, his name literally means little son or the sun in Hebrew. And what's the story have? He's got 7 locks. There are 7 days to a week. Now people go, that's a huge leap. 7 locks, 7 days a week. Well, when you cut the hair off, he loses his strength. And a lot of them will say, as soon as his hair's cut off in the narrative, next thing you know, his eyes are gouged out. Now he's blind. So there's this imagery in this narrative, though it's obviously anthropomorphic. It's taking place in like a human's narrative, but it underlies this theme that this may be a winter solstice coming on. I just say that because now he's not only blind because darkness, but he's now mowing grain down in, you know, underneath in someone's basement, grinding up grain for the people. I don't know if that's a winter storage that you're keeping your supplies. I'm reading a little into it here, but the point is, even when what's her name? We all like to call the women who do us wrong. Jezebel. Yeah, isn't that the one that asked Samson?
Delilah.
No. Okay, Delilah.
That's another one.
Yeah, just another one. When Delilah is asking for, hey, what's your weakness? And finally he tells her, like a dummy, she cuts his hair off and she gets a payment in silver. And now, am I reading into it when I say gold sometimes is reflective of a sun and then silver is reflective of a moon? I don't know. Is there a combat going on between sun and moon in this narrative in some sense?
You have thought quite a bit about this.
I mean, look, I have looked into some of this stuff, just wondering if there's something there, And parallelomania is a thing, and it's possible. But I'm saying, is it not possible? His name means little son.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, I guess you can't find connections unless you explore them.
Yeah. I just think it's worth considering things like that. I mean, especially when you have literary repetition, like you're going to get into in some of our upcoming interview shows on this with your book. You do a fantastic job, like showing the narrative. I'm like blown away. Hold on, this guy's wife's also his sister. I mean, why are they doing this again?
What?
This is episode 3 again? No, hold on. Weren't we on a different episode? Oh, just a different name. Anyway, thank you, Dr. Josh.
Of course.